Hey everybody, I'm Bob Lucido and this is the Bearcat Training Camp, where we are offering business building training for Team Beachbody coaches. One of the things that I've been talking about along the way is making sure that you are getting your mind right, making sure that you are grasping, understanding, and implementing the right philosophies to drive success in your business. So what I want to share with you today is sort of a collection of some of the things that I've found to drive great success in this business, and they're all concept things. I think I said this in one of the earlier videos. I'm a concept guy. I really believe that most of what drives your success is not technique and scripted language or any of that kind of stuff. It's getting your mind right. It's having a solid strategy supported by solid philosophies that are going to drive you forward, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. The first one that I want to share with you is that you have to be willing to do more than everyone else on your team. You have to, from day one, be willing to be a leader. I mean, let's face it, from the very first time you sign up as a Team Beachbody coach, what you're signing up to do is to build a team. What you're signing up to do is to build a business that consists of inviting others to join you and to work together to reach as many people and help as many people as possible as a group, as a collective. So right from day one, you're signing up to be a leader, and you have to understand that that means you making the commitment to do all the things that you're going to want your teammates to be doing as well. You know, one of the early mentors that I was working with and when I was first building my business used to ask this question. If everyone on your team today did what you did today, what would your business look like? And that's an important question because it really does focus in on this philosophy that I'm sharing with you, number one here, that you have to be willing to lead by example, lead from the front. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Maybe you've heard that before. It's this concept that people are going to do what you do. They're not going to do what you tell them to do. They're not going to do what you're, put all fancy into your trainings or scripted language or cool graphics that you're sharing on your team pages. They're going to watch what you're doing, and that's what they are going to duplicate. So right off the bat, from number one, you have to ask yourself, what do you want the people in your team and your organization to be doing? And then you have to get to work doing that. Be vocal about it. Make sure that people can see that you're doing it. Make sure that you are sharing what it is that you are doing so that you are in fact leading by example. But do the things that you want everyone on your team to be doing. If you want a team full of people who qualify for Success Club every month, then you qualify for Success Club every month. If you want a team that has elite coaches in it, then you qualify to become an elite coach. If you want a downline that's full of 5-star diamond and above coaches, then you become a 5-star diamond or above coach. Am I making sense? I hope so, because that really is one of the most critical components here. This is a team sport. This is a relationship-based business, and the team that you're building is going to have the energy that you bring to it. The team that you are building is going to have the common goals and the common philosophies that you instill into it, and it's going to become off of what you're doing yourself. Okay, so that's number one. You got to work harder than anybody else. If you want great success for the coaches in your business, then you have to get to work building the success yourself. Okay? You have to be the example of what you want everybody to be doing. That's just so important, and it can't be skipped. You can't call in from the couch on this one, okay? You just can't do that. You can't be sitting on the sidelines thinking you're going to cheer everybody else on and push everybody else forward from behind. It just doesn't work that way. So learn how to lead from the front. Lead by example. I just got back from the men's coach training event in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. One of the speakers there, Scott Mann, who did a wonderful job. He's an ex-Green Beret, lieutenant colonel, I think, team leader. And he talked about something that he calls rooftop leadership. And without going into his whole talk, it's exactly what we're talking about here. He told the story of him and his Green Beret teams going into different villages, either in Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever it may be, and the need to be able to connect with the locals, with the villagers, by leading by example. And he calls it rooftop leadership because, again, I'm not going to give you his whole story, but he tells the story of him and his guys getting up on the rooftops themselves every day when they first pull into the village to show these villagers who they're trying to help protect from outside forces, either Taliban or ISIS or whoever it is that they're in there dealing with. But they have to show first that they're willing to get on the rooftops and do the work to repel these forces, and to prove that by getting up on the rooftops that goal could be achieved. And he tells the story of how after night after night after night of him and his small team getting up there and being willing to be the ones putting themselves in the line of fire, that soon those villagers were joining in to make sure that these outside invading forces were repelled, but only because they first saw the leadership by example that these Green Berets were displaying. And he calls that rooftop leadership. And for me, that just struck such a chord because it's exactly this philosophy that I'm trying to share with you here. And it's something that I talk with all of my coaches about right from the beginning. If you want to build a big team, if you want to have a good, strong, big organization of successful coaches, it's going to start with you. It's going to start with what's happening in the room when nobody's looking, and what are you doing in your individual business to lead from the front, okay? So that's number one. Number two is you have to be willing to pursue change, okay? Here's a personal development piece for you. You have to not only be willing to change, but you have to embrace change and pursue change. Here's what I mean by that. You have to build goals that are so big that as the person who you are right now, you really can't reach that goal. You have to build and set goals that are going to make you become a better person before you can reach them, either with a better skill set or better inner growth or whatever it may be, to stretch you into places where you haven't been before. Because again, this is relationship marketing. This is a business that is dependent upon your being able to build a community. You're being able to build a team, to build an organization. And that's going to require a lot of change and a lot of growth. Because your team, your organization, it's not just a set of numbers. It's made up of people. And people are going to have individual personalities. They're going to have individual sets of goals. Your team and your organization is not going to look like my team or my organization or someone else's. And it's because of that. Because although we're talking about large numbers and large organizations, those numbers are coming from individuals with individual personalities, individual goals, individual circumstances, individual lives. And that's going to require you to build under the structure and the philosophies that you're being taught either here or in some of the other training programs that you might be part of, but to be able to do that in a way that takes into account who you're working with at that time, that takes into account who the individuals are that your team is made up of. What are the commonalities that you can find? What are the strengths and the weaknesses of the individuals that help to define the strengths and the weaknesses of the organization? that are going to then define the direction that your organization is going to take. All of that's going to become evident to you only through your willingness to change, your willingness to go with the flow, your willingness to have a plan and have a focus and be willing to pull that together organically based on what's happening in your organization at any given time and with whoever it is that you may be working with. Same thing goes for your challenge groups. Same things go for the individuals that you might be helping through a fitness program or through a health regimen, whatever it is that you're helping them through. You have to be willing to think out of the box sometimes, right? The program and the guides and all of the things that we have in place to help you as a coach are there to help you, but you're going to have to personalize things. You're going to have to drive home the connection. And folks, this is one of the reasons why I don't like scripted language. I just don't think it works. A script does not mold itself, does not lend itself the ability to move and change and be fluid, to be able to make the connection with whoever it is that you're working with. And you need that to be able to have success. You can't have this cold, dry, scripted thing that you follow and you're trying to push on everyone that you're sharing with. That's not what this is about. It's about sharing and making connection, which means that you have to learn how to be fluid. You have to learn to think out of the box sometimes. And then you have to take all of that home, because remember, philosophy number one is that you're going to work harder at all of this stuff than anybody else in your team. You're going to lead from the front, which means that you too need to be willing to change. You too need to be willing to grow. Because let's face it, you need to grow a skill set. You need to grow on the inner levels so that you can get better at creating relationships. You can get better at leadership. You can get better at community building, at organization building. You can get better at some of the skills of the inviting and the sharing that we do, whether that's through social media or in person or whatever platform it is that you're using. All of those improvements that we're trying to get to you in all of those different areas are going to require that you change. It's going to require change in your daily routine. It's going to require change in maybe how you speak and how you communicate. It's going to require your willingness to grow and become someone different yourself. Because in order to reach the kind of success that you're trying to reach, if you're in this group with us, then there's going to be some growth requirement. And it's going to start with you, and you have to pursue that. As I said, it's more than just being willing to change, being willing to grow. You have to pursue that with a vengeance. You have to be turning over every stone, looking for every opportunity to grow, every opportunity to improve your skills, every opportunity to continue to learn how to improve your ability to find people, to invite people, to connect with people. If those are the core things that we need to be doing, then we need to be pursuing change as quickly and as feverishly as we can in those areas, growing ourselves as much as we possibly can in those areas, which means it's going to stretch us a little bit. It's going to put us into some uncomfortable places. Look, the fact of the matter is, all growth, any growth, only happens in the outside of your comfort zone areas. So are you willing today to make a commitment to live just on the edge of your comfort zone? And by the edge, I mean just outside of it, just beyond your comfort zone, continuing to push yourself further, continuing to push your abilities, continuing to push your skill set, and to grow yourself as a communicator, to grow yourself in the ability to build relationships and sustain relationships, to build community, to be able to lead, and to be able to do the kinds of things that it takes to bring positive life change into people's lives. That's what we do. And if that's what we do, then we have to be committing to growing ourselves continually to be able to reach people, to be able to do that. Because let's face it, a lot of times bringing positive life change into someone's life means that you're challenging them to grow too. And there needs to be some trust, there needs to be some belief, there needs to be some connective tissue there that's going to allow you to reach into that person's life and bring this gift of positive life change that you have. But it starts with opening the door to the acceptance of change. And that's going to happen best when you are 100% engulfed in that process yourself and able to share enthusiastically and excitedly about the prospects of where that's bringing you, where it has brought you, where it has brought the people you've worked with or teamed up with, to help make sure that you can convey that message to the folks that you're sharing with. Okay, so be willing to pursue change and pursue it with a fever, okay? The next is you need to learn how to be able to communicate vision into those that you're working with. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you have to believe it before they do. All right? As coaches, that's a big part of our job. If someone comes to you and they join your challenge group and they need to lose 10 pounds or whatever it is that their personal goal is, most of the time they don't believe in the beginning that they can do it themselves. You need to be in there believing for them. The same thing happens with the business. You need to be able to develop your skills to listen for their goals, to understand their goals, and then to help them see those goals coming into reality in their own lives. And a lot of times what that means is you seeing it for them first and getting in there and supporting them along in the belief process. A lot of times as coaches, the support that we provide really has nothing to do with the actual fitness program or the diet plan or the menu plan that they might be on. Sure, we help with that stuff. But the real help that we provide is the kind of support that builds belief, that builds self-esteem, that builds the vision that these people already have somewhere in themselves for themselves, but are either afraid to or unable to actually connect with. And if you can grasp that and get an understanding for what that is and what that process is, and then get in there and start working on that a little bit, start improving your own skills on doing that, you'll be much better at what it is that we do as coaches than just getting into a challenge group and running somebody through some foreign language or cheering somebody on because they did the workout. Hey, did you drink your shake today? Hey, did you do your workout today? That's not really doing it, folks. To really connect with people, you have to be able to see their vision. And sometimes that's a job in itself, and that may take a lot of conversation. It may take a lot of connection to really get yourself to the place where you can see the vision that this person's trying to connect with. And then help find the pieces, help find the bridges that are going to help get them there, continuing to help them see the vision. And sometimes that might mean you articulating it, you helping to pull it out, parse it together, and be able to put it together in their why statement. And I encourage you to do a why statement, even with your challenge group people, even with the people who you're working with product first. If you're helping someone with a fitness goal or a health goal, I hope you understand their why and you've helped draw the vision together for them. And then see it. Help articulate it for them. What's it going to look like when they reach that? What's it going to feel like when they reach that? And then be the kind of support that helps to bring that along and bring that forward, okay? Also, so crucial with your business partner teammates, people who are coming in to try to build a business. So often, the same thing is true. You need to be able to see it for them before they can see it. You need to be able to hold the anchor, so to speak, to be able to hold the strength and the vision of where they're trying to get to, knowing that they can get there. And that's the cool part about this business. In the beginning, you don't have a lot of familiarity with what the possibilities are. The first time somebody puts in the P90X DVD or the Hammer and Chisel DVD and they're brand new to this world, there's not a lot of belief there, right? But if you've been around for a while and you've been involved in Beachbody stuff for years and you've seen program after program after program just killing it with people, you know that the high likelihood is that that person's going to get some decent results. All dependent upon what they bring to the table, of course. But you have a deeper belief because you've seen it happen over and over again. You got to bring that to the table for the people that you're working with. Let them hear, see, feel, taste, smell your belief in what they are doing, your belief in them. Same thing with the business opportunity. Again, in the beginning, you don't have a lot of context for this thing. But if you've been around for a little while and you've seen success either yourself or you've seen it happen over and over and over again in the teams that you're part of, those are the things that you need to bring forward in your sharing. Because that's the stuff that helps ground in the belief that is an essential ingredient to building success. That's your job as a coach, is to see it and to believe it before the people who you're working with can even see it and believe it themselves, and then be the bridge that helps to bring that belief and that understanding into being. Because once your challengers or your business partner coaches can reach that level of seeing the vision, of believing that they can get there too, then you'll see amazing things happen in your team. You'll see amazing things happen in your business. You'll see amazing things happen with the challengers that you're working with. That's the missing ingredient for most people, and that's the most important ingredient that we can bring to the table as coaches. All right? So being able to convey vision and belief in the people that you're working with before they even have that yet themselves. Think about that, contemplate that, meditate that on that yourself. Think out of the box on what that means to you. How can you implement that philosophy, that concept in what it is that you're doing with your people, okay? Another one is you gotta own it completely. You have to own your business and your success completely. What do I mean by that? Well, back to the men's training event that I was at in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. One of the keynote speakers was Gary Vaynerchuk, amazing guy. It was such an honor to be able to share the stage with him. But one of the things that he kept talking about was personal responsibility. You gotta be responsible for your own success. You gotta be responsible for your own defeats. You have to own it. It's your business. You have to own it 100%. If you're complaining about your upline, if you're complaining about something corporate did, if you're complaining about the, whatever, the website or the shipping or the whatever piece it is, you're wasting your time. You're sending your business backwards and you're not owning it. Own it 100%. It's your business. We are independent contractors. Yes, we partner with Beachbody and they provide some amazing products that we get the privilege of distributing and then helping people have success with. But bottom line is your business and you got to own it. You got to wake up every day owning your business, taking full responsibility for everything that happens in your business and getting to work that way, getting after it, that way. It's crucial, folks. Again, it's philosophical. It's a philosophy piece. Are you owning it? Are you taking 100% responsibility for your business? Or are you waiting for your upline to place some rock star in your downline? Or are you waiting for somebody in your downline to build a business? Or are you waiting for a weak leg volume to increase? Or are you any of those things? If you're even wasting any time thinking about those things, you're taking yourself away from what really builds success. And that's taking responsibility yourself for everything going on in your business and getting to work, moving things forward. Instead of asking yourself what you can complain about today, ask yourself, what can you do to move one thing forward in your business today? And then build on that, grow on that. What can I do next to move something forward in my business? And if you let that be the thought, if you let that be the conceptual driver for your day, you'll see great things happen. You won't be wasting time. You won't be spinning your wheels. You won't be slipping backwards. You'll be driving forward, taking responsibility and acting accordingly. All right, that's a big one. The next one that I want to share with you is, again, something that I heard Gary Vaynerchuk talk about. I've heard other speakers talk about over and over and over again, and it's this concept about discovering your sweet spot, discovering your talent. Now, we've all heard, I think growing up, the concept of work on your weaknesses, right? Improve your weak spots. What I'm here to say to you today is you should be doing the exact opposite. And that is that you should be discovering your sweet spot in this business. If your sweet spot is Instagram, then all your chips are on Instagram and you run with it. If your sweet spot is building fit clubs or shake and shares, then all your chips go there and you run with it. It's going to do some really good stuff for you because it's going to connect with your passion. It's going to get you connected with what you love to do. It's going to get you connected with your talent. And it's going to give you the ability to create your niche, your brand, and the ability to excel. Okay? Now, what they say is that if you work on your weaknesses, then you may be able to bring them up 1 or 2 notches. In fact, any of the things that you work on within yourself, you're able to raise up maybe 1 or 2 notches. Well, let's think about that. If you're spending your time trying to improve on your weaknesses, then you're taking areas that you may be able to bring from a weakness up to mediocrity. Whereas if you focus in on your strengths, if you focus in on your talents, then you may be able to take yourself from something that you're pretty good at up to something that you are awesome at, something that you excel at. And that's what you need in this business model. There are many ways to build this business. And if you've been watching the videos up to this point, you know that. We've been talking about that. We've been sharing that. You also know that I've been saying over and over again, it's not about learning how to do everything. It's about understanding what all the things are, trying them all out so that you can find the ones that you excel at, that you connect with, that you can embrace and run with. All in on your sweet spot. When I was first building my business, I had the luxury of working with some really great mentors, and one of the mentors I was working with at the time said this to me right off the bat. It was either the first or second time that we even spoke. He sent me home with a little homework piece and he said, discover your sweet spot. What's your sweet spot in this business? What do you think you're good at doing? What do you like doing? What's the area in this coaching thing, all of what that is, that you connect with the most deeply, that you're the most passionate about? Okay? And once I got that, once I sat on that and I wrote it in my journal and I truly tried to discover what that piece was, it opened the doors to unimaginable success. And I've seen that happen over and over again with the coaches that I've worked with in my own team and in my own organization. Finding your sweet spot is so important. And that carries over, by the way, to finding your connection with what it is that we're doing as Beachbody coaches. And I talked about this in one of the earlier videos, but it's worth bringing up again here as well, because it fits into this concept, and in fact it's probably a shade of this concept. And that is finding out where you fit, where the big picture of what we're doing as Beachbody coaches fits into your personal passion in life. I work with some coaches. I was working with one of my coaches the other day, and she was explaining to me that her sweet spot, the thing she really connects with, is getting Shakeology to people and sharing the health benefits and helping people share and improve their daily health and nutrition through Shakeology. And then I have coaches who are 100% program driven. They love to run fit clubs, they love running challenge groups, they love sharing the fitness programs with people. And yes, they share Shakeology too, because that's part of it, right? That's part of the plan. But there's kind of two different visions of how to go after this. And then some of you who saw the guest series that we've been doing here, you heard from Keith Callahan. His passion has always been building a business and helping other people build a business. So the way that he shares is going to look very different from those other two coaches that I just mentioned. All right? Is this starting to make sense to you? Challenge groups might be a passion for you. Shake and shares might be a passion for you. Helping stay-at-home moms build businesses might be a passion for you. One of the things that my wife loves sharing in all of this is the ability for Shakeology to boost energy levels for moms with young kids. It sounds like a very narrow approach, but it's perfect because it is a specific core principle that she can share and that she's completely passionate about. It's one of the things that made her fall in love with Shakeology in the first place. When we had our little girls, and she was nursing and a brand new mom with little kids, Shakeology was like a lifesaver. And that's what she shares with people. That's how she shares when she talks about Beachbody, right? It's such a big thing. It's such a, the term Beachbody or coaching or, what it is that we share is such a big umbrella. It's such a big tent. Don't get lost wandering around the tent trying to share everything that falls within that basket. What is it that you are connected with? One of the things that I love sharing is I love to share with other professionals, other business owners, the opportunity that this business model offers. I was a prior business owner myself. I was running a law firm when I bumped into Beachbody. It's part of my story. It's part of my personal connection with all of this. I'm super passionate about helping people build a business. I'm super passionate about helping people build freedom of time, financial freedom, freedom from the chains of the 9-to-5 world is one of the things that I share with people all the time. That's my piece. One of the reasons why I'm doing these videos with all of you, and one of the reasons why we've opened it up to everybody in the network, cross line, cross team, it doesn't matter to me. I want to be part of as many success stories in the business building aspect as I possibly can. I want to be part of some success stories in the health and fitness improvement too. That's part of what we do. But my real passion is in helping people to free themselves into the world or into the dream and the vision that they've had for their lives forever that possibly they either gave up on or thought that they could never reach. Because that's part of my story. That's part of what Beachbody did for me. It freed me from a 20-year career that was cool, it served its purpose, but I was done with it and ready to be done with it, but I didn't think I had a way out. I didn't even imagine at the time that there was a possibility of change until this opportunity came into my life. And now it's changed things dramatically for me. And that's what I love to share with other people. All right, so I hope that's making sense to you. What is your thing? What is your thing? Okay, and that goes on those two levels that I just shared with you, and I hope you caught both of them. Number one is, what is it about Beachbody that you can connect with and share with people? And then secondly, how are you going to do it? Are you a social media person? Are you a fit club person, a shake and share person, a business opportunity webinar person, a get people in the room and do business opportunity presentations, or what else? Are you an Instagram person? Are you a YouTube person? Are you Snapchat? Are you a Facebook person? Are you going to be a Twitter person? Are you going to run a blog? Or any combination of any of those things. But don't think you have to do it all. Nobody does it all. Here's another sort of, cliche saying that I'm sure you've heard before. Jack of all trades, expert at none. Okay, be careful about falling into the trap of being a jack of all trades in this business, because that is a surefire way of keeping yourself down. You can't just meddle and piddle and fool around with all the different ways of building this business. You got to pick one. You got to find the one that resonates with you. You got to find the one that you can be passionate about, that you can really be in love with, and go with it. Another thought that Gary Vaynerchuk shared with us a couple of weeks ago, and again I think is gold, is this concept that you can't have great success at anything unless you really love doing it. And you got to think about that for a little while. You can reach certain levels of success by really pushing yourself and muscling through, but you're not going to reach stellar success, life-changing kind of success, unless you can do it doing something that you really love to do, because that's what's going to drive you to put in the early morning hours. That's what's going to drive you to do the late night stuff that needs to get done. That's what's going to drive you to think out of the box, connect with your passion, and do the kinds of things that are required for you to drive great success. Also, within those hours that you're putting into whatever that thing is, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the belief, and the drive will be off the charts when you can be doing it in something that you love and you're passionate about. Okay, so don't just say, I'm a Beachbody coach because I want to help people. If you're saying that, you haven't found your niche here yet. You haven't found your passion here yet. If you're saying, oh, I'm a Beachbody coach because I like to help people get healthy and fit, or because I got healthy and fit and now I want to help other people, if that's all you've reached so far, I'm suggesting you dig deeper. I'm suggesting you get more specific. I'm suggesting you get more narrow in how you define that and connect with it. Okay? Here's another one for you. Accountability. Accountability. This is a philosophy that you have to bring into the way that you're building this business. The beautiful part about this business is we get to work from home. We don't have a boss. We're not having a time clock that you have to punch in on. And all of those things are also a double-edged sword, because they're also the things that can become the greatest impediments to success in this business. Because we have to build in the accountability ourselves. And that's why having an accountability partner, a success partner, are so important. That's why getting on success teams, getting in, Diamond Dash groups, or Coach Basics groups, or Emerald to Diamond groups, or Diamond to Star Diamond groups, or groups like this one right here, whatever it is that you can connect with to help bring some accountability. And not just help bring some accountability, actually seek it out. And this one's going to circle all the way back to what we talked about in the beginning. Remember when I was talking about being willing to pursue change? One of the ways that you drive yourself towards change is to bring in a little bit of accountability. Let somebody know what your goals are, and then ask them to help you to stay accountable. Bring somebody in and let them know what it is that you're going to try to be putting together when you're trying to work harder than everybody else, and what that looks like for you. When you go through and you give that list that I asked you to put together in the beginning of what is it that you want everybody on your team to be doing, and then you start doing it. Once you put that together and you share that with your success partner and ask them to hold you accountable to that, great things will happen. It's going to drive you towards the change that we talked about. It's going to hold you to actually pursuing that change. And it's going to ground your business in a very powerful way that can be one of the greatest impediments, again, to this business model. Because you're all alone, it's hard to be grounded into a structure. And the structure, the foundation, and the form is so crucial to your ability to build great success that reaches up into the stars. You can't have that without a foundation, without grounding, and accountability will bring that in. You have to be willing to hold yourself accountable, but you have to be willing to bring in some support, to get some partners to help you to stay accountable. You know, one of the things that I said about this group right in the beginning is I encouraged people to use it as an accountability springboard. But go ahead and get onto the Facebook page and you'll see that not many people do that. Get into your team pages and you'll see not many people do that. Get into your challenge groups and you'll find not many people do that. But what you'll also find is the ones who do it are the ones who get great success. The ones who are willing to admit when they fall, the ones who are willing to be held accountable to the things that they've said that they were going to do, and the ones who are willing to get in there and have honest conversation about whether they did it, whether they did not do it, how, why, wherefore, the feelings around it, all of those things are the ones who actually do the growth, are the ones who actually achieve the change, and are the ones who actually reach the success. Okay? Accountability. You have to be willing, and in fact more than willing, just like we talked about up top in number 1, when we were talking about change. You can't just be willing to be accountable. You need to pursue it every place you possibly can. Every opportunity you need to hold yourself accountable. And it starts simply by saying your goals. So many of us are afraid to even voice our goals because once we voice them, there is a certain first level of accountability that comes in. Oh my God, I just said that out into the world. Somebody heard that. Now they're expecting me to do that. Level 1 of accountability. What do you want out of this business? Have you said it yet? Have you said it clearly yet? Have you put it out in public yet? Start by sharing it with your spouse. Start by sharing it with your success partner. Share it on your team page. Share it in public. The more you share your own personal goals, the sooner you will reach those goals, because you're bringing in deeper levels of accountability every time you do that. And I'm suggesting that you do that not just with, here's my big goal, I want to be, $1 million club, or I want to be 5-star diamond, or, I want to retire my husband, or I want to, whatever those things are. Those are great. Get them out there, but also take that down into the finer detail. What are you committing to do on a daily basis? Are you putting that out there? And are you then holding yourself accountable and asking and inviting others to help hold you accountable for those things? Once you do that, you'll see great things happen. And again, you're all welcome to use the Facebook page right here for this group. Get in there. And if you've already done it, do it again. What's your why? What are you committing to? What's the power hour that you commit to on a daily basis? And who's holding you accountable to it? Are you using my set of daily disciplines? Are you following the 50-10 rule? Do you have a 10 in play going? All of those things are fantastic places to start with your own accountability model. And I highly suggest, by the way, with all of those, that you do bring the accountability piece into play. So get on the page. Let us know. What are the daily disciplines that you're holding yourself to that we can help hold you to? What's the power hour that you're committing to? What's the monthly goals that you're committing to? What's the year goal that you're committing to? What's the goal you have for when you show up at Summit? What's your rank going to be? What's your, elite point status going to be? How many months in Success Club are you going to have? What's your income going to be? All of those things are great parameters for you to grab onto as your benchmarks, but you got to share them. And then you got to ask somebody, and hopefully more than just one person, to help hold you accountable to that. Okay, so willingness to be accountable. All right, and here's our last one, folks. Along with that accountability, you have to bring drive to the table. All right, accountability will help you to move that drive forward and continue moving it forward, but you have to bring that to the table. And for those of you who have been in this group since the very beginning, you know that in the very first video, I asked you to commit to a couple of things. And one of the things I asked you to commit to was showing up here with a badass attitude. I'm coming back to that because this final philosophy that I'm sharing with you today is exactly that. What's your drive level? I love Insanity Max 30 because it instills this concept. Once the whistle blows and the workout starts, you are 100%, you are full throttle. And you don't stop until you just can't do it anymore, until you drop. And then you get up, you take a breath, and it's full throttle all over again. You got to bring that same attitude to this business. In fact, folks, I don't care what business you're growing. If you're an entrepreneur and you're building a business or you're building anything that you're trying to succeed at, this drive that I'm talking to, this is the partner to accountability. Accountability doesn't mean anything until you add the drive that's going to move you forward and actually help you get to the realization of those dreams and visions and goals that you're setting for yourself. But that comes from you. You have to make the decision to go 100% all in. You can't go halfway, folks. You just can't do it. You can't go halfway. Think about it. Certain things that halfway just doesn't cut it. You got to be 100% in order to be able to be moving forward. And this is one of those things that's going to take that kind of focus, that kind of action level, that kind of drive, and it's going to come from you. You have to make a decision. Are you here for real? Don't just try to play with this, because if you do, then next year or the year after or 3 years from now, you might be sitting in another group just like this, still at the same level that you're at today. And I'm sorry, but that's just kind of a little dose of reality. Without the drive, without the commitment and the focus, you're not going to move yourself forward. That's the momentum that's going to break the inertia. That is the piece, that's the ingredient that's going to get that boulder rolling so that it can take on a life of its own and so that it can drive your business forward and bring you to the success that you're trying to get to. Okay? So, again, just like I said in the beginning, I know these are all concepts and I just tried to grab what I believe are some of the core concepts that drive success here for you. Please think about these things. Don't get yourself stuck even in just the parameters that I just set forth. Take each one of these, break them down for yourself, really meditate on each one of these things and ask yourself how you're doing with each one of these things and how you can move yourself forward in the process of really embracing these philosophies and, more importantly, implementing them. The first step is believing in them, and then embracing them, and then finally implementing and living them. All right? So I'm hopefully opening the door to belief for you on these things. Let me tell you, folks, these are the things that drove my own success These are the principles, concepts, and some of the core philosophies that I've watched drive success over and over and over and over again in this business and in this business model. And that's why I'm sharing them with you. So sometimes belief starts with trust. Trust me. Just grab onto some of these things, grab on all of them, hopefully, and start moving them forward in your belief. Embrace it, drive it forward, implement, 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 and go grow your own success. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.